The headline improvement for the third week of December is that I wrote a new class called LNode RangeMapper, and I integrated it into the enhanced C# and LES2 printers. This is an important algorithm which allows the compile time macro to figure out where an error is located in your source code. Previously, it would only show the location in the generated code. In this demo, I don't have red squiggly underlines yet, but when you double-click on an error in the error list, the cursor now goes to the exact location of the error in the enhanced C# code, instead of going to the word compile time. There are two errors in this example. The first one is pretty obvious. The second one is that I can't put an integer directly in a code quote. Instead, I have to create a literal node. I don't have time to go into the other thing I did this week, so I'll just explain the background context of it. Since the loic libraries are C#, they have to deal with a huge problem known as nominal typing. Nominal typing means that a type is identified by a name and a location, such as ilist in System Collections Generic and mscorelib.dll. I find nominal typing to be a tremendous inconvenience of .NET. Other languages, such as Go and TypeScript, offer structural interfaces which are way better in my opinion. Consider the iReadOnlyList interface, which was introduced in .NET 4. It's a subset of ilist, so everything in iReadOnlyList is also available in ilist. If .NET had structural typing, then every ilist would also be an iReadOnlyList. But instead, Microsoft decided to make the two interfaces unrelated to each other. This has been an ongoing source of problems in my collection library. At first, it was a problem because I was maintaining .NET 3.5 compatibility, and .NET 3.5 doesn't have iReadOnlyList, so all my collection types implemented ilist and my own variation of iReadOnlyList called ilistSource. So I would have separate overloads of every extension method, one for ilistSource and one for ilist, and every collection implemented ilist, even if it was read-only, because ilist was the standard. But this caused an ambiguity error anytime you tried to call one of these methods because the compiler couldn't decide which of the two identical overloads it should call. Ultimately, I ended up making lots of disambiguating extension methods, and when I finally dropped .NET 3.5 support, the ambiguity errors got more numerous as I added support for the official iReadOnlyList interface, as well as the old ilistSource, which is actually superior to iReadOnlyList, so I'm keeping it. There's a lot that I could say on this subject, but my main conclusion has been that in any system that uses nominal typing, it is important to have fine-grained interfaces so that a data type can implement the most appropriate interface for itself. For example, some classes might provide a retrieval function like try_get that attempts to look up a value associated with a key. This is the essence of a read-only hash table, but some classes that are not hash tables may have a retrieval function too, but are unable to provide other methods like count and getEnumerator. Also notice that if the key is int, then it is perfectly appropriate to implement this interface on ordinary list classes, not just dictionaries. Moreover, this fine-grained interface is able to support generic variants, unlike iReadOnly Dictionary, which does not. Therefore, the loic collection interfaces are very fine-grained. They allow you to implement a class whose interfaces provide only the functionality that is appropriate for that class. The loic collections library provides a full set of list, set, and dictionary types that implement not only the standard .NET interfaces, but also a full set of fine-grained interfaces, so that you can always pass a loic collection into any method that expects one of these fine-grained interfaces, as well as your own custom classes that implement the same interfaces. Last March, I overhauled the collection interfaces to follow a more regular and predictable pattern, and all I will say about the third quarter of December is that I would tweak them a bit more to increase their fine-grainedness.